In June 1941, at a meeting with his ally, dictator Benito Mussolini, Hitler referred to the people and political system of Switzerland as the moral enemies of New Germany. This statement was indicative of how he viewed the Swiss citizens, despite being geographically situated in the middle of the Nazi Germany-controlled territories. Switzerland managed to remain neutral throughout World War II. As a result, its population was spared the violence and destruction that occurred in other parts of Europe. A year later, France had been defeated, and the countries of Poland, Norway, Denmark, Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands were already overrun by the German army. With Nazi Germany to the north, Italy to the south, Hungary and Romania in the east, and Spain in the west, it was a hard task for such a small nation surrounded on all sides. Hitler had often expressed his desire to conquer Switzerland, and his generals had even drafted detailed plans to seize the Alps. Despite this, he never managed to invade Switzerland, and it remained free from the German dictator grasp throughout World War II. But why did Germany never invade Switzerland? Was it a matter of military importance or economic and political considerations? Switzerland is a unique nation with a rich history of different cultural influences. Through the centuries, it has been subject to numerous occupations by European powers, which is reflected in the fact that it has 4 official languages: Italian, French, and German. Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini during World War II and the years preceding it both expressed their ambitions to reclaim territories of Switzerland that are populated by speakers of their respective languages. Indeed, Hitler saw the Switzerland as an illegitimate branch of his German people and believed that it had no right to exist, despite the fact that Germany's leader, Adolf Hitler, had declared his intention to respect Switzerland's neutrality. On June 25, 1940, the very same day France fell under Nazi control, Germany started to develop a plan known as Operation Tannenbaum, which aimed at invading the neighboring country in an effort to expand the Third Reich's territory. Hitler would launch a major attack on Switzerland with Italian forces. This involved spending up to 500,000 soldiers, in addition to heavy airstrikes from the Luftwaffe in preparation for the attack. Heinrich Himmler held numerous meetings and discussions about who would take control of Switzerland once it had been occupied. The plans for the invasion of Switzerland were formulated but never actually implemented. This is attributed to the challenging nature of the land in this country. The Swiss had an extensive system of fortifications scattered throughout their countryside. The Swiss government was also well prepared for the potential conflicts and had put considerable resources into their military budget in the 1930s. This allowed them to prepare their soldiers with some of the most advanced weapons available, such as the K-31 rifle, which was regarded as superior to its German counterpart, which was manufactured under contract. At this time, in addition to possessing high-quality weapons, a vast majority of Swiss men had received military training from a young age, making them extremely capable and adept warriors should war break out. Henry Gouache, the general in charge of the Swiss armed forces during World War II, raised the conscription up to 60. He had a contingency plan in place to protect his country from a possible invasion. Despite being at a major disadvantage when compared to the powerful forces of Hitler's Wehrmacht, his strategy was to leave the cities and the flatlands exposed to Germany and instead mobilize his army towards the Alps. This territory held a unique strategy value, as its mountains land made it extremely difficult for the Nazi powers to use their tanks and air support, taking advantage of their knowledge of the area to remain hidden and launch surprise attack on any invading forces. Even if the conquest had been successful, it is thought that resistance movement in the Alps would have forced Germany to keep a number of troops there. This is believed to be the primary reason why Hitler never went ahead with his original plan. He must have been aware that such a costly venture would not pay off. It became clear that Switzerland did not have a great strategy value to justify the amount of resources being mobilized for its defense. As a result of this realization, the Germans began to focus more attention on their struggles against Britain and the Soviet Union. Many historians have stated that this may not have been the only reason behind the non-invasion of Switzerland. Considering the fact that Napoleon had managed to prevail over the Alps and conquer Switzerland, one might wonder why Hitler, who had at the time seemed largely undefeatable because of his successes in the Balkans and Greece. Many authors have argued that Nazi Germany chose not to attack Switzerland because of its neutrality being beneficial in terms of potential alliance with Nazi Germany. Swiss sociologist Gennat Seigele noted this particular viewpoint, stating that Hitler was crazy, but not crazy enough to attack his own bunker. However, what is often not taken into account is that the fact that Switzerland had also declared their neutrality at the start of World War II and had committed to an official policy of non-belligerence. During World War II, the Third Reich had a vast amount of money and gold stored away in Swiss banks for safekeeping. Attacking Switzerland would have been a significantly risky financial move because of the vast wealth held there, as well as other potential benefits German generals and officers could gain. This was because should Germany end up losing the war, having access to this wealth meant that Nazi officials were able to secure their own futures. Besides that, Swiss companies were not only responsible for producing weapons for the Nazi forces during World War II, but also supplied them with a much higher quantity of military technology than they did for the Western Allies. Neutral and independent, Switzerland sent 10 times more arms and military materials to the Axis than to their Western allies during this period. Because of its neutrality, Switzerland was the perfect place for the meetings between the both sides of conflict, even if those meetings were not officially recognized. This practice of neutrality had a practical use for Hitler, in that he could depend on Switzerland to remain neutral so as not to be a part of the conflict or be used. The Tannenbaum operation was a move that could have been extremely complex, as it would have required a massive resources which Germany did not have. Furthermore, even if the invasion had gone as planned, it could still have resulted in disastrous political and economic. The plan of invading Switzerland started to fade out in 1943 following the surrender of fascist Italy. Nonetheless, the Swiss government's role in this wartime period is still being studied today because of its close ties with Nazi Germany. Despite these relations, Switzerland managed to stay independent and neutral throughout the war. But had it been defeated by Germany, Switzerland would have suffered a great deal from a potential invasion. But now many people are left wondering what kind of outcome there would have been if Germany had proceeded in its invasion of Switzerland during World War II.